Hi there, my name is Sagir Carpenter and you're welcome to the first tutorial in this series, Mumu's Guide to 3D. This tutorial is being hosted by EVCL. You could check out our website at www.e-black.net, and while you're there you might want to have a look at our YouTube, Twitter and Facebook accounts as well. While you're there you might also want to have a look at our work page. You can have a look at our show reel. You can have a look at our stills, just so you have a clear idea of the kind of work we do here. So without further ado, let's get to the business of today. In this particular video, we're going to be looking at one of the core concepts of 3D. Anything I'm about to show you are rules or concepts that span across any 3D application you might want to or you might be using. So I will just show you a picture here to expatiate what I mean. Like, say we want to have a look at this guy's features. He has two eyes, a nose and a mouth, and we move over to this African dude here. He has two eyes, a nose and a mouth. This Caucasian here, the same thing, two eyes, nose, mouth. Yeah, with this weird looking guy here, has two eyes, a nose and a mouth. This Chinese guy. So you get the message. Although those guys were different races, but they all had the same basic features. So that's exactly what I'm trying to show you here. And one of those core concepts that we're going to be focusing on is the viewport. First of all, in any major 3D application, the first thing you're going to notice is these windows that you see right here. They're called the viewports, and usually you have four different viewports: one from the front, one from the top, one from the left, and one from the perspective. You might be excused for mistaking these viewports to be like, windows to like different scenes, but they are actually just like a director on a movie shoot will, have the ability to see his actors via his different cameramen. So in essence, it's just the same place, it's just that it's being viewed from different angles. And you can see here the viewports have tags attached next to them so that you know exactly what window you're looking at. One of the first things you notice again after you run any 3D major 3D application is the home grid. This home grid is a very important part of any 3D program, in the sense that it's like a starting point and it's also a reference point, because 3D space is actually theoretically infinite, so you wouldn't want to get lost in it. And this home grid here actually helps you to know exactly where you are in 3D space. You can see as I'm panning, left to right, up and down, you get to know exactly how far or how close to your center of your scene you actually are. So that's that for that part. One other thing you could do with your viewports is you could also rotate. You're not just restricted to panning left and right. Since we are in actually three-dimensional space, we can rotate, you can elevate or go or depress, so it gives you the freedom to do that as well. Once again, these are common features in any major 3D application, and this feature is not just exclusive to the perspective view, it's also in the, you can also rotate the other viewports. However, it's not too advisable, as you will learn in subsequent tutorials. So let's just undo and take these other viewports back to their default setting, and we will just use our perspective view for all our rotation. So the next thing I'm going to show you is the difference between the perspective viewport and the other three viewports. That's the left, top and front, which are called orthographic viewports. And to do that properly, we are going to unhide an object that I created earlier, but it's just hidden the scene. So let's just do that quickly. Unhide. You can see we have this box here. It has labels on its different sides. It has a label front, right, top, left, and bottom, in case if you don't know where exactly you're looking at. So you can see we have the same box. Like I mentioned earlier, it's the same scene but from different angles. And at this point you might be wondering, why exactly is the box looking differently on the other viewports? Well, it's just because the other viewports are viewed in wireframe mode, while the perspective viewport is being viewed in shaded mode. And once again, it's not an exclusive thing for the perspective viewport. You can also enable shading in the other viewports. So let's enable shading, and you can see, so this even gives you a better idea of what's going on, what's up with the viewports. You can see like this front viewport here, it basically just means that the camera is positioned somewhere from this angle. You could see, you could even argue that it's an identical camera, even though the home grid at the bottom is one that's kind of giving us away, letting us know that it's not actually the same kind of view. But yeah, you could see that it's kind of from this angle, the top angle. Yeah, it's from somewhere here, the left. You know, you get the idea there. So like I said, the main distinct difference between the perspective and the other orthographic views that we have, if you look closely at the other orthographic viewports, you see that they are pretty much parallel. You don't have any diagonally intersecting lines or anything like that whatsoever. But if you look closely at this perspective view, you realize that try as we might to rotate it to look like this view, even though we were getting away with that pretty well in the shaded mode, but in the wireframe mode you could see that you can't actually get it to look quite like this, any of these views, no matter how you rotate it. And it does have some diagonal lines, and you can actually see the other lines at the back of the box. So the reason that is so is because this view, as the name suggests, has perspective enabled. And let's have a look at a picture here to get a better idea of that. You could see like in this old drawing here, very old actually, it's been done in 1604, but you could see even way back then the artist then knew the importance of perspective in drawing. And you could see we have several lines radiating from the center of this point, which is what you would call the vanishing point. And if you take a ruler and draw out each of these lines, you realize that it ends at this point. So that's pretty much how the human eye or camera works in real life. That's pretty much what the perspective viewport is trying to do here. It's trying to emulate real life, so to speak. You can see the other viewports are not quite like that. You might rotate them, but you can still get them back to look kind of parallel, as you just seen there. But you can't just do that with the perspective viewport. So that's the main difference between the perspective and the orthographic views. And at this point, let's just go back into shaded mode. Some of you might be wondering, why exactly would you need more than one viewport when you could just do all your work in the perspective and rotate to any side of the object you're working on, and do your alterations there? Well, the reason is simply these viewports are here to just make your life easier. Well, maybe not your real life, but in the world of 3D they will actually make your life easier, because let's say you're like trying to move something here and you want to see how it looks from the left or from the top. You might not get a better idea of what it looks like, except if you are keeping a close eye through the other viewports. So basically that's what they're there for. They're there to give you a better view. However, if you decide that you know exactly what it is you're doing and you don't really need to be seeing these other viewports, and maybe the view you have here is too small, you could actually maximize the viewport, and so that it doesn't have to compete with the other viewports. And you have it, like, once again, it's not just for the perspective viewport, it's for all the other viewports. And you will also come to learn that all the other viewports are pretty customizable. You could rotate them and get them to look anyhow you want. You could see the moment I rotated this viewport, the name changed from left to user. That's because it's a custom viewport. And you can set it to the way you like, and just set just this guy to be wireframe from this angle, and it's your user viewport. So one more thing I think before we go, different viewing modes we have for our objects. We could view it in wireframe mode, in shaded mode, and there's even the wireframe on shaded mode. So this is also another feature across all the standard 3D applications. That's that for the viewports in this tutorial, Mumu's Guide to 3D. Hope you enjoyed it, and see you next.